feel a bit self-conscious with this headset, like Madonna. So it's lovely to see you all. Thanks very much for coming along. My name is Michael Kelly, and I'm the founder of an organisation called GIY, which stands for Grow It Yourself. And I'm going to be talking about a particular aspect of the work that we do, which is with corporates. So we started as an organisation that was really about helping people to grow some of their own food in schools and at home and in the community. But over the last, I suppose, year in particular, or 16 months, we've been doing a lot of work with corporate Ireland, helping people to grow work at food, which I think is very relevant in the context of today's conference, and I think a particularly interesting kind of part of what we do that it's been embraced by the corporate world. Before I get to that though, I want to talk a little bit about, I suppose, the background to how we got started. So I worked in the corporate world myself. I worked in IT for 10 years, and in some ways I'm the kind of last person you'd expect to be running an organisation like GIY. When I was in my kind of late 20s and early 30s, I went through a sort of a short-lived obsession with bonsai trees in an apartment in Dublin where I lived for a while. And I used to bring these things home. They'd be like 100 years old, and they'd die off within a week, like all the leaves would start dropping off. And I used to always feel terribly guilty about that. So I'm the classic kind of, you know, lacquer green fingers type person, I suppose, that's so typical today. And the reason I got started with food growing and ultimately ended up working in this space is that there was a day I was flying through the supermarket like we all do at times, you know, throwing things into the trolley, and like most people, I didn't really think a whole lot about where my food came from or have much interest in that, and something happened that day to sort of shake me out of my complacency. So I was about to fire in, you know, the little kind of nets of garlic that you buy with three bulbs of garlic in it. I was about to fire one of them into the trolley, and I noticed on the label on the back it said "Product of China," which really captured my imagination. In fact, I think it said "Fresh from China" on the label, which I think is the ultimate irony. If we drove to China now in the back of an articulated lorry, I think fresh is probably the last word we'd use to describe ourselves. But so I just got really interested in, you know, why were we importing something so small and so cheap and transporting it 5,000 miles across the face of the earth. And what you discover actually when you look into it is that it's very, very common. And in fact, even though we kind of still consider ourselves a somewhat agrarian society and we have a huge agriculture industry, almost 90% of the fruit and vegetables that we eat in this country are imported, which is astonishing. So I decided to grow some of my own garlic. That was my way of sort of sticking two fingers to the man, I guess, and started growing my own garlic. Anybody grown garlic in the room? Couple of hands. Oh, quite a few. Good stuff. So it's a really easy one to start with, and I was very lucky I started with garlic because it's very straightforward. You take an individual clove from a bulb of garlic, so you break up the bulb and stick the cloves down into the ground. They're spaced about that far apart. So you literally stick the clove into the ground so that the tip of it is about an inch underneath the surface of the soil. And over 6 months that clove splits and turns into a bulb of garlic. So from one clove you get one bulb. So it's a really straightforward thing to do, and that's what I did. And I got bitten by the bug of food growing. I tried, buoyed by my success. I was like, the movie Castaway, Tom Hanks, when he gets the fire lighting for the first time, and then he's jumping around bare-chested on the beach. I was a little bit like that about being able to produce food in my own garden. I couldn't believe that I was able to grow some food right there in my own garden. And so I tried other things, tomatoes and potatoes, and just the more I grew, I guess, the more I realized that it was improving my overall diet and my understanding of nutrition and so on. And then somewhere along the line I realised that there was sort of nothing out there that I could join. So there was, in Waterford where I lived, there was plant clubs and gardening clubs, and I went along to a couple of meetings. They were talking about begonias and roses and things that I had no interest in. So I decided to set up my own food growers group, and we called it GIY. And about a year later I started working full time. So we're a not-for-profit. We support about 250,000 people every year to grow their own food around the UK and Ireland. So it's been quite the journey in a very quick space of time. So just, I suppose, to again mention the big picture. This picture I took I don't even remember where actually. It was some store I went into, and I was just struck by if you think about, you know, the front window or the shop window of our food chain. This is a very good metaphor for that. And you might have heard it called before this diet of food that's very high in fat and salt and sugar. I've heard it called the sad crap diet, which is standard American diet, carbohydrates refined and processed. And this is a great example of that in action. And it's interesting to me that even if you think about kind of waist height, you know, the counter level here, and this thing up beside it is up at this height, and it's laden with really unhealthy food. I think that's again a great metaphor for the problems we have in our food chain. And a wonderful quote from Michael Pollan, who some of you may have heard. He has a book called The Food Eater's Rules, and one of his rules is that you should never eat anything that your grandmother wouldn't recognise as food. And I don't know about you, but my grandmother, I think, would struggle to find anything on those shelves that's, you know, food in its natural form. So the more food that I grow and that we grow at home with my family, I think the more the more alien this all looks. The flip side, I suppose, to that, just one more example actually of the problems we have in the food chain. Picture on the left is the supermarket near to where I live. If you grow some of your own herbs, you might recognise this is a rosemary bush. It's about 6 foot tall, and there's enough rosemary on that to keep us all in rosemary forever in this room. And lo and behold, when I went into the supermarket, went up to the herb counter, and here you go on the shelf for sale for €2, about 4 sprigs of rosemary in a little pouch. And I don't know if you can see the origin is Kenya, so it's travelled 2,500 miles to get to the shelves when there's free rosemary out in the car park in the supermarket. And you know, take your pick of the examples of that. You'll see strawberries on the shelf in Wexford from Israel during strawberry season, and lots of other mad stuff. This is a picture of my son at home. So what he's doing here is shelling broad beans, and it's not like this every night in our house. We're not all sitting around shelling broad beans like Little House on the Prairie, but this particular night he was, and he looked up at me and he said, "Dad, we need to keep some." So what he's doing there is getting these beans ready to go into the freezer so we can save them for the winter. And he said, "Dad, we need to keep some of these beans for next year's growing." So we understood, even from a very peripheral involvement in the growing I do, you know, the whole life cycle of the broad bean plant, and that the beans that we eat are also actually the seed. And it's a great example of what we call food empathy in GIY, which is when we get people growing their own food, they get a deeper understanding of their food as a result. And that's why it's so important. Even if it's only, you know, 5% of the food you eat or 10% of the food you eat, the understanding that you get about your food and the connection you get means the other 90% that you buy is going to be different. It's going to be healthier. It's probably going to be seasonal and local and organic and all that good stuff as well. So very quickly, I've talked about some of these. Why would you bother? And I think these are all good ideas. It helps you understand your food. You get access to fantastic ingredients for your cooking. You get, you know, it's really, really good for your mental health. It's a really mindful activity that you can do, and you get, you know, some fresh air and exercise at the same time. Some of the myths that we come across all the time when we talk to people about giving food growing a try, and the top one is always a good one. You know, that people think it's only for people that have a huge garden, live in the countryside, when in fact you really can grow an awful lot of food in a balcony. An apartment balcony if you have a bit of ingenuity about it. I've hopefully knocked this one on the head. If I can do it, anybody can. And the last one, you know, I suppose the big problem we have is that the supermarkets have made our food so cheap that we don't really value it anymore. And I think food growing connects you with the value and the effort that goes into it. So just very finally then to mention, we kind of happened across the idea of getting people growing food in the workplace by accident, and we set up, we got an inquiry originally from Diageo, believe it or not, a big brewery in St. James's Gate. We helped them put in a garden, and what they found and what we found was astonishing, that not only did the people involved in that get all the benefits associated with growing their own food, but they also found in the workplace that it was a fantastic way for, you know, people to get to know other people from different departments and so on. They were, you know, it's a great leveler in terms of people coming together. And so we established a thing we call GRY or Work as a program, so we can come into companies and do workshops in the workplace. We can even put in gardens, physical gardens, where employees can go on their lunch break, and we've done rooftop gardens, we've done all sorts of different configurations. Or we can also connect the corporate with the community garden, where staff can go and volunteer and so on. And then we also have our own home, a place called Grow HQ down in Waterford, where people can come and learn how to grow food and cook food and so on. And these are some of the companies we've worked with, some really big brands, and some of the great places to work around Ireland have used food growing as a way to you know, increase their ability to retain employees and attract new employees and so on. So the likes of Innocent and Energia and Deloitte, we've been in the journal.ie, you name it, we've been in, and it's a huge part of our business now, and a really important way for people to really connect with our food. In a general sense, we have, although we're all obsessed with food at the moment, we have, you know, we're all looking at different diets and taking gluten out of our diets and putting dairy back in, and taking dairy out, putting meat in, taking meat out and so on. At the same time, we've never been more disconnected from our food in terms of actually how it works and learning how to grow it. So I hope you'd consider it, and if you want to talk to us, we'd be delighted to do so. I'll be here for a little while, and thanks very much for listening. Thank you.